Hello, Pisces. Can you believe it? I'm sitting here, heading into September, and we're back doing our more intimate conversations. It's been a real process for me exploring myself, doing my own healing journey, and continuing to do my work in the world. And it's a continuing journey of not exactly knowing how this is all going to look as we keep going forward. But I did get called to just be here for these chats in September, and I'm really excited to explore the themes for you this month, Pisces, as we move through September. This is a really potent time of year for you. As we move through Virgo season, we have Venus and the Sun opposing you in your counterbalancing sign of Virgo. This is the month of the equinox. And as we move into Libra season later this month, this is a time of deep transmutation for Piscean energy. We also have a full moon in Pisces before we even get to that part of the month, where you are going to be seeing and feeling the illumination of how you've changed and grown. And finally, one of the bigger things happening this month is that Mercury will be doing its regular retrograde, moving through Libra and back into Virgo during the course of this month. So this is a potent and beautiful and clarifying month. And it got me really thinking for you, Pisces, about some key ingredients of this month and how to work with it. Like I mentioned, Virgo is your opposing sign. It is going to help you to alchemize and to find some equilibrium in your growth and be able to see yourself from fresh perspective. And then as we move into more Libran energy at the end of the month with a new moon there and Venus entering there and the Sun entering there, we walk through the portal of the equinox, which initiates us into the next part of the year. This is going to be a season of alchemizing parts of your story, of yourself, of how you speak of yourself into a whole, and helping yourself be yourself in the world. This gets us back to some basics, right? Because in the tradition of alchemy, this old tradition of unity, of taking composite parts and making unity, the symbolism there is so deep. One of the main tenets of alchemical processes is that the raw ingredients of creating that unity, of that golden space, of being full in spirit, those raw ingredients are often the things that we think of as unuseful in ourselves. It's the psychological process of facing into ourselves and integrating parts that feel unworthy. But it's more than that, because for me, this is about so often, we will judge ourselves for being too slow or too sensitive or not doing things in the usual order, not having all the answers. Maybe we'll have an idea of a limitation in our bodies or in our value in the world. We may have places that we have been told over and over again by culture and by situations that these are less worthy, that these are obstacles to us being a part of something. But in the alchemical tradition, these very things, maybe your highly attuned sensitivity, the speed with which you move through life, the ability for you to move through mystery, the way that you visualize or problem solve or see something are the very ingredients that actually make you whole. And so this month is going to be asking you to watch that judgment voice that comes in when it says, oh, well, you move your life, the pace you live it at, there's something wrong with it. Well, the fact that you don't like loud noises, there's something wrong with you. The way that you've done things, the order you've done things in your life is wrong with you. Notice that judging voice and then flip it around, because those very ingredients are the things that are longing for you to follow them into what is really meant for you. 2 cards came out, Hanged Man and 10 of Swords. I love these cards. I'm actually going to pull a third one to go along with this because the conversation isn't complete, I don't think. These are alchemical transformational cards, and the Sun wanted to come out. There you go. There you go. The Hanged Man is about a change in perspective, right? It's the number 12. It's a symbolic whole. And the Hanged Man can see everything. It's inverse, right? So this is the logic of the Fool. This is the logic of the Shaman. This is about the reversal of things. So where we judge our situation, our timing, the Hanged Man asks us to take the judgment off and get curious about the ingredients that are there. And I think that's the difference too. So often in, spiritual teaching, or like in a kind of the new age fluffy version of these conversations, it's like, oh, if you have a negative thought about yourself, just turn it around and make it super positive. But the true opposite of the negative judging voice is the curious voice. So all we're being asked here to do in any part of yourself where there has been a haunted house or a worry or a thought is to notice the judging voice and then get into the curious voice. What are the ingredients here? What am I working with? What is here wanting to be acknowledged and utilized in my path moving forward, in my creativity, in my relationships, in my relationship to myself and the way that I'm pursuing my life? The Hanged Man will ask for this type of wisdom. Now with that, we have the Eight of Swords. I thought I said 10 of Swords, but it's 8 of Swords. The Eight of Swords is a time of mystery. We often fight this. We often fight Eight of Swords feeling because it feels like we should know where we need to put our next foot down. And we feel out of control, and we might be judging and thrashing about, trying to get to the conclusion, to get the answer. But the Eight of Swords for me is a card that is always preceding breakthroughs. And the more we can soften into this not knowing, the better. Because this allows us to actually hear and see the wisdom that is trying to get through, but we're so busy fighting against ourselves in the situation that we don't often see. There's the blindfold trying to slow us down enough to hear and see it. The wisdom that wants to come through. Now, finally, we have the Sun. And one of the things that's really interesting about this card is, yes, it is the image of a child playing, going for it in life, in the full warmth of the sun. This is a version of childlike play that often we as children ourselves did not necessarily receive, did not necessarily experience. This is a creative vision that we as adults, as people living in the world, have to create for ourselves now. And it is alchemized through the inversion of the places in ourselves that feel like less than, problematic, bad, that they become the gold through which we move through our lives. Now, like I said, this is not to be about just candy coating our lives, our circumstances, who we are, what challenges us, what grieves us in life. That was never the requirement. All this is a curious alchemizing of the things that are there and using them, working with them so that we can do these beautiful creative things. Now I see breakthroughs here. I see connective things happening here. I see beautiful things happening here. As long as we give ourselves enough space to really hear it. I am going to be offering up weekly teachings over on Patreon. If you are looking for more guidance, hanging out with me more often, I would love to see you over there. It is an amazing community. You can also find me on my Instagram. There's only one true Sarah Verba, as well as my email. So I will leave all those links below so you know where to find me. Have a beautiful September, Pisces, and I will see you so soon for our next chat.